It was too peaceful, out here surrounded by the vacuum of space, and with only the continual hum of the twin-ion drives breaking the silence. While she loved these moments of peace, Jaina Solo also viewed them as an emotional trap, for she had been around long enough to understand the turmoil she would find at the end of this ride, like the end of every ride lately. Leia paused a moment before she entered the bridge of the Jade Sabre, the new shuttle her brother Luke had built for his wife, Mara Jade. Before her, Mara and Jaina sat comfortably side by side at the controls, talking and smiling. Leia focused on her daughter Jaina, 16 years old, but with the mature and calm demeanor of a veteran pilot. Leia saw much of herself in the girl, and that notion set Leia back a bit, for she recognized that when she looked at Jaina, she was seeing not a reflection of herself, but an image of the girl she had once been. A twinge of sadness caught her as she considered her own life now. A diplomat, a bureaucrat, a mediator, always trying to calm things down, always working for the peace and prosperity of the New Republic. Did she miss the days when the most common noise around her had been the sharp blare of a blaster or the hiss of a lightsaber? Perhaps, Leia had to admit. But in looking at Jaina and those simmering dark eyes, she could take vicarious pleasure. Another twinge, jealousy, caught her by surprise, as Mara and Jaina erupted into laughter over some joke Leia had not overheard. But she pushed the absurd notion far from her mind, as she regarded her sister-in-law, Luke's wife and Jaina's tutor in the ways of the Jedi. When Leia considered the fires that constantly burned in Mara's green eyes, she understood that the woman could give to Jaina things that Leia could not, and that those lessons would prove valuable indeed to her daughter, and so she forced aside her jealousy and was merely glad that Jaina had found such a friend. Leia crossed through the open doorway. "How much longer?" she asked. In answer, Jaina increased the magnification on the forward screen, and there appeared an image of two planets. Parked halfway between them loomed a Mon Calamari battlecruiser, the Mediator, one of the newest ships in the New Republic fleet. "They're at their closest," Mara observed, referring to the planets. She turned to Jaina. "Both Rhommamool and Osarian are ground-based technologically, but they both got missiles that can hit each other from this close distance. That's why your mother chose to come out now." "You're expecting a fight?" Jaina asked, and neither Leia nor Mara missed the sparkle in her eye. "The Mediator will keep them behaving," Leia said, hopefully. Mara looked back to the screen and shook her head, unconvinced. "It'll take more than a show of force to stop this catastrophe," she replied. "Indeed, it has been escalating by all reports," came a melodic voice from the doorway, and the protocol droid C-3PO walked onto the bridge. "It started as a simple mining dispute over mineral rights, but now the rhetoric is more appropriate for some kind of holy crusade." "It's the leader on Rhommamool," Mara remarked. "Nom Anor. He's reached down and grabbed his followers by their most basic instincts, weaving the dispute against Osarian into a more general matter of tyranny and oppression. Don't underestimate him." "I can't begin to give you a full list of tyrants like Nom Anor that I've dealt with," Leia said with a resigned shrug. "Not like him," Mara replied somewhat softly. And the sudden weakness in her voice reminded Leia and Jaina that Mara, despite her nearly constant bravado and overabundance of energy, was seriously ill, with a strange and thankfully rare disease that had killed dozens of others, and against which the best doctors in the New Republic had proven completely helpless. Of those who had contracted the molecular disorder, only Mara and one other remained alive, and that other person, being studied intently on Coruscant, was fast dying. "Incoming ships," Jaina announced. Blips had appeared on her sensor viewer as if from nowhere. 4 of them, Mara confirmed. Even as she spoke, the warning buzzers began to go off. "From Osarian." She turned her curious expression up to Leia. "They're afraid that my going to Rhommamool to meet with Nom Anor will only heighten his stature, both among the Rhommamoolians and throughout the sector," Leia reasoned. This was a notion not without credence, and one that she had debated endlessly before making the decision to come here. Z-95 headhunters, Mara said derisively of the closing craft, an antiquated starfighter. "But they're coming on fast." Both she and Jaina looked to Leia for instructions, for while the Jade Sabre was Mara's ship, this was Leia's mission. "Lose them," she said determinedly, a request that neither of the pilots needed to hear twice. Jaina reversed throttle, fishtailing the ship about in a brutal 180. "Try a..." Mara started to say, but she lost the words as Jaina pulled a snap roll right and then another right behind it. Mara glanced over her right shoulder between Jaina and Leia, and both followed her lead long enough to see that 2 of the 4 attack ships had altered course accordingly, laser cannons blasting away. "Coming in hot!" Mara cried. Jaina couldn't even hear her. She was turned inward now, was feeling the force coursing through her, was registering every movement of her enemies and reacting instinctively, playing the game 3 moves ahead. Before Mara had even begun to speak, Jaina had brought the ship's nose about to starboard to directly face one of the incoming headhunters. The Jade Sabre's defensive array screeched and lit up, warning of a lock-on. But then the closer ship, coming from port, passed right under the Jade Sabre, and Jaina fired the repulsor lifts, bouncing the Jade Sabre up and sending the poor headhunter into a wild spinning roll. The closing ship from starboard let fly its concussion missile, but it and the headhunter zipped right underneath the elevated Jade Sabre. Before the 3 women could even begin to catch their breath, another ship streaked in. An X-Wing. The new XJ version of the starfighter, its own laser cannons blasting away from its wingtips. Not at the Jade Sabre, though, but at the headhunter that had just gone past. "Who is that?" Leia asked. And Jaina, equally curious, brought the Jade Sabre about hard. The headhunter snap-rolled left and dived, but the far superior X-Wing stayed on her, lasers scoring hit after hit, depleting her shields and then blasting her apart into a million pieces. "A Jedi," Mara and Jaina said together, and Leia, when she paused to collect the force sensations about her, concurred. "Fast to the mediator," Leia instructed her daughter, and Jaina swung the Jade Sabre about yet again. "Another headhunter's out," Jaina informed them, watching the blips on her sensor screen. "And the 2 others are vectoring away. Only one pursuing. The X-Wing." Jaina took the Jade Sabre at a swift but steady pace toward the distant mediator and took her down easily. "I hope to meet with Nom Anor tomorrow," Leia explained as the 3 moved down to the landing bay. A contingent of New Republic honor guards stood waiting there, along with Commander Akdul. By all reports, we should be rested before dealing with him. But first, it seems I get to meet with our savior Jedi, Leia added dryly, looking back behind the Jade Sabre to see the X-Wing gliding into rest. "Wurth Skidder," Jaina remarked, recognizing the markings under the canopy on the starfighter. "Why am I not surprised?" Leia asked, and she blew a sigh. Akdul came over to them then and extended his formal greetings to the distinguished guests, but Leia's reaction set him back on his heels. "Why did you send him out?" she snapped, motioning toward the Jedi's docking X-Wing. "Why do you assume that Wurth Skidder flew out at my command?" the cool Commander Akdul responded. "Why would you assume that Wurth Skidder heeds any order I might give?" The young man was fast approaching, pulling off his helmet and giving his shock of blonde hair a tousle as he walked. Leia stepped out to intercept him. "Wurth Skidder," she said, "do you even understand that your stupidity likely escalated an already impossible situation?" Leia's voice was as firm and cold as anyone present had ever heard it. "They were attacking you," Skidder retorted. "4 of them. And we planned to avoid them." "Avoid," Leia explained. "And our graciousness in not mentioning this unfortunate incident would have bought me the bargaining capital I need to bring some kind of conciliation from Osarian toward Rhommamool. But now we can't do that, can we? Now I'll have to deal with an incident." The Jedi glared all around, then turned on his heel and walked briskly away. Leia did manage a bit of a smile when she heard Mara behind her tell Jaina, "Maybe Nom Anor has met his match."